Okay, so Nissan has revealed something that they call the Nissan Z Heritage 2024 model year, which has a different nose, a bunch of stickers on it, and it looks very, very nice. Honestly, I think this is what the Z should have looked like from the start, because I'm not a huge fan of the big square grille that we have on the current Z. This looks so much more nimble and athletic in the front end. So we're gonna have a look at this and compare it to the normal Z. Gonna try to figure out all the small little details, the decals and stuff that they added onto this to make this the Heritage Edition. Before we jump into Photoshop, let's have a look at this article from Car and Driver. Very short article. I'm going to link it down below in the description. So the 2024 Nissan Z Heritage Edition has a Datsun-like nose. That is what we want to see, a separation for that big square in the front end. That's exactly what we get here. And it starts at $60,275. So I guess the whole philosophy with the Datsun 240Z was to have performance on a budget, a proper sports car for a decent price, but I don't think that's the case anymore. Over $60,000 for this car. So it's based on the Z's 400 horsepower performance trim and will be available in limited numbers later this summer. The design recalls the first generation Datsun 240Z. The Heritage comes with a mechanical limited slip differential and either a 6-speed manual or a 9-speed automatic. You go with the manual, obviously, in this case. It seems strange at first glance for Nissan to choose the performance trim over the powerful Nismo model. But when the Heritage Edition first came out at the Tokyo Auto Show in January of 2022, the Nismo wasn't around yet, so they had to base it on the performance spec, and I guess they kept that philosophy going into the production version here. So it comes with an exclusive sight orange paint. The eye-catching color is contrasted with black decals extending from the hood over the roof and the trunk lid. You also have a small little Heritage sticker that I think looks a little cheap, if I'm honest, just around the Z logo on the B-pillar, or yeah, it's the B-pillar in this case. And there's also fender flares. They added a small little thin fenders around all four corners. The wheels are also part of the throwback, with Nissan swapping the standard wheels for a set of retro-style 19-inch wheels. And last but not least, you obviously have this split grille in the front end. I wish I could just buy that separate piece and have it color matched with the Z that I have, and then just have that be the standard look for all Zs. Now Nissan hasn't confirmed the amount that it will sell of this car, but it will cost you $6,165 more than a standard Z performance model. And if you have another $6,615 or $6,615 burning a hole in your pocket, that's enough to get you the more serious Nismo Z. They say it's manual only here. We got to contact Car and Driver here because that is incorrect. It's automatic only for the Nissan Nismo Z, which I made a review on. Both the normal Z, the performance, and the Nismo on the Sketch Monkey channel if you want to go and check that out. So with that said, let's jump into Photoshop here and let's have a look at this car. What's different here? Why am I paying $6,100 extra for this? Let's have a look. Let's check this out. So first of all, I do think the design, maybe it's worth the extra money to just have this more athletic design that we have down here for the Heritage Edition. Of course, the normal performance is up here. I do think this is the performance. I'm actually not sure if this is just a base spec or the performance, but the big change is going to happen right here in the front end with this big square. Now, when this first came out, when they came out with the concept car for the Nissan Z, they had the same grille, but it was all black. And what I said there in the video is, I wish they made this top part a bit of a different shade and not completely black. So at least the graphics within this piece is separated. And that's exactly what they did here for the production version. You can see that this top part here is a little bit more gray than what we have down here, which is completely blacked out. So it creates a bit, at least, of a separation in the front end design. But looking at the Heritage Edition, I'm really glad to see that they actually put this in production, because when I saw it at the Tokyo Auto Salon in 2022, I said the same thing back then, that this is what the car should have looked like from the start. We need a separation of body color in between these two big pieces in the front end. and that's exactly what they did. And it also feels like it's more of a pointy nose now. We're gonna have a look at that in a side view in a minute. But overall, it's a great looking car now. It looks so much better. Even though I don't think this is necessarily ugly, it just feels very static in the front end, and maybe too tall, because this front end graphics here is so huge. It just takes up such a huge space vertically, and now you can see that it cut it with the body panel in the middle, and it looks so much better. So looking at the side view here, you can see just how much it feels a little bit more pointy in the front end, and that is a huge deal because it makes it feel a lot more sporty when we have this line now cutting down here, and then this is the only part that sticks out. Then it goes back in here into this front lip at the very low section, while in the normal, I'm not sure why I have the Heritage up top here. That should be, of course, down low, but we're gonna continue with this anyway. And if you can see the normal performance here, you can see that we have one single line here going into the hood. It creates, again, more of a static feel for this design. Not a bad design, but I definitely prefer the way this one looks. And in addition to the front end design changes, we also have these fender flares, as you can see. I'm not sure if it makes the car any wider. They feel very thin, but they bring in some of the retro style that we're looking for in the Heritage Edition. And you also have new 19-inch wheels. Love the design of these wheels. These definitely look super retro to me. Beautiful design, even though these look great as well. I definitely prefer, if we're gonna go retro, let's go for all the way, even with the wheels. And these wheels look great. I don't want to have them in black though. Not sure why every car company these days just putting all cars with black wheels. Let me enjoy and appreciate the design here and make them silver, dark silver or something like that. Maybe even gold, not with the orange color, but having a retro Heritage in silver with the gold wheels, that would be a very, very clean looking design. And the rest of the car looks pretty much standard to what we have on the normal Z down there. This is the sticker I'm talking about. This looks a little cheap. I wish for $6,000 they could have made something special, a unique piece that they stamped on to this area of the car instead of just putting a sticker around the Z logo. Looking at the rear end before we have a look at the interior, there are a couple of things in the interior that I want to talk about as well. That I actually prefer on the normal Z that feels more retro than the Heritage Edition. But there's really nothing going on in the rear that I can see, maybe you can, that is different for the Heritage Edition. Maybe there is, I don't think, I think we have the fins here for the diffuser. They're just blacked out in the shadows there, you can barely see them. But we have 4 fins here in this diffuser, and the diffuser itself looks to be exactly the same as the one that we have on the performance version. So that goes for the taillights and the wing as well. They could have maybe made something different with the wing that sits on top of the trunk lid here. And of course, we're gonna add a bunch of different stickers on here, but again, I'm not sure if it's worth an additional $6,000. The only thing that feels like I'm paying, you know, a premium for would be this design of the front end. They didn't really do a lot else. The powertrain is exactly the same, and that's the reason why I wish we could just have this front end as a separate piece to be sold by maybe Nissan dealers and install it before you take delivery of the car. Now, last but not least, this is the interior here. Up top is actually, believe it or not, but this is the normal performance here, and the normal non-Heritage Edition is the one that comes with this retro blue interior, which I absolutely love. So I wish they would have put this beautiful interior for the retro, the Heritage Edition down here, because this feels like a throwback to the 60s as well, with the 240Z with the blue interiors. So this is something that I wish they would have incorporated in the in the Heritage Edition for 2024 as well. So in this case, I would definitely go with this interior. I'm not sure if that is an option. I don't think that's an option for the Heritage. I think the Heritage just comes as it is. You don't have a lot of options for that car. And it feels a little weird that it did not go with the already retro-inspired interior that we have on the normal Performance Z. Up top, we do have these gauges. I love these gauges, looking nice. I love this interior overall. I talked about this in my review of the Nismo, for example, just how beautiful this interior is. We have a lot of buttons here, simple layout, a lot of parts taken from the 370Z, which I don't think it's a bad thing. I hear a lot of people saying we're paying this much for this car. We want to have a brand new interior with no parts at all from the old 370Z. But to me, that doesn't make sense because this is a much more desirable interior for me than having a you know the drill. We have a big screen up here that's combined infotainment engaged. This looks so much better than that. So overall, I'm a little bit torn about the pricing for this. I think that if they was about $3,000 extra, it would make a little bit more sense. But $6,000 for this package when you don't really get that many upgrades except for the beautiful front end, I don't know. For me, I would just go with a normal Z.